You guys, it has been one hell of a 48 hours, and I cannot wait to tell you guys what I've been through. I'm just gonna preface it now. It's a long ass story about my travel day. If you're not interested, just skip, but it's a pretty crazy story if you ask me. So yesterday, Thursday, I was supposed to leave for the Dominican Republic from LAX at 4. The flight was at 6, so then I got there at 4. The guy at the kiosk goes, "Oh, I have some bad news." And I'm like, "Okay, what?" He's like, "You can't go." And I'm like, "Why not?" And he was like, "Because your passport expires in 3 months and needs to be valid for 6 months." I'm telling you about this trip that has been planned for such a long time now, and like, what the heck? And so now I'm like, okay, so what do I do? He's like, "Well, you need to get a 1-day passport and maybe you can catch the flight at midnight." I'm like, "How is that possible?" He's like, "Well, you're going to have to go to the federal building, but you need an appointment to go there. If not, you could go to the postal service and they could do it for you." I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm sure." So then one of the homies going on the trip, mind you, I don't know Andy, but this angel works for American, but he was going on the trip with us. I met him at the kiosk and he's like, "You have to do exactly what they said." But so since I Ubered to the airport, he gives me his keys and he's like, "Do what you got to do and just park your car. And if you figure it out, you figure it out." By this time, it's like 5 in the morning, and I am driving straight to the federal building. It's not even open yet. I'm hoping and calling because there's only a hotline to make the reservations. I'm calling to see if I can get an appointment, and they're like, "No, there's nothing. We're all booked out until the 22nd. I asked the operator, "Is there anywhere in the country that I can go to, any state that will have any opening?" They're like, "Everyone is super booked out." So now I'm just like, oh my God. Now I need to rush over to this postal service that the American Airlines dude told me that I could get a passport. So I drive there and I'm sleeping in my car from like 6:30 to 9 a.m. when it opens. It's 8:55 and I think like, oh, I'm going to be the first person in line. So I hop out of the car, get in line, and it says, "We don't take passport photos here because of COVID." So now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm first in line, but I'm really not because I have to go. I'm not because I don't have a passport photo. So then I call the nearest CVS and I'm like, "Hey, do you guys take passport photos?" They're like, "Unfortunately, our camera got jacked, so we're going to have to direct you to UPS." I'm like, "Okay, where is that?" She's like, "Right next door." So then I rush over in Andy's car to the UPS, take my photos, which by the way, looks like a freaking mugshot because the guy was like, "You can't smile." So I'm like, literally like, but anyways, so I take the photo, I go back to the USPS, and then I like, it's open, they let me in, and I'm like, "Okay, I need a 1-day passport." They're like, "Sweetie, we don't do that here. That is not a thing. Whoever told you that was lying to you." So now I'm like, wow, I just went through all of this and I'm not going to get anything accomplished. So I'm like, okay, I need to go back to the airport, drop his car off, and just Uber home. So I thought that was the end of it. I'm not going on the trip. I just let myself I don't know, I accepted it. I wasn't triggered. I wasn't angry. I just accepted it and I knocked out because before I knocked out when I got home, my roommate was telling me, "Hey, I saw on Instagram that this girl is the passport plug and she can somehow get you a reservation appointment, so you should DM her." So I did exactly that. When I woke up from my nap, this lady was like, "Where are you located?" I was like, "Los Angeles." So she hit me up and she was like, "I have one reservation cancellation in New Orleans. Do you want to do that?" And I'm like, is this really happening? So then I hop on the call with Rachel and Chell, and we're trying to figure out flights now because I had canceled everything. So basically what we did was I went back to the airport last night. I caught a red eye to Atlanta, and then I had a layover, and then I flew to New Orleans and then got to the place by 9, rented a vehicle. I drove my ass to this passport place, stayed there from 10 to 2:30 p.m. when they gave me my passport, like legit a passport, and then I drove straight to the airport and got on a plane and came back to Atlanta because my flight tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. flies out to the Dominican Republic. But long story short, this girl just hit 3 states and 3 flights in 24 hours. But thanks to Dasha, I secured the passport. Thank you so much. Going to the DR tomorrow, baby.